Hello and welcome to another episode. So today we have another Wii U that has synchronization problems with the GamePad connecting to the console. Now I received this from a girl named Heather through Facebook. Her son watched a couple of my videos on troubleshooting. They called Nintendo, couldn't figure it out. Tried a couple of their own little tricks that they found on the web, so then they contacted me so I could take a crack at it, and here it is. It's the Wii U. Again, there's no connection between the GamePad and the console. So let's open this beast up, connect it, and see what does and does not work. Let's get into it. Okay, so I've booted up the Wii U. I plugged in the power adapter for the GamePad. It didn't have a charge, so what we'll do now is try to synchronize the GamePad with the console. So we'll power on the pad. It looks like it definitely was, at one point, connected. We see all the menu options here. So, let's start by pressing the sync button on the console. And then we'll push the synchronization button on the back of the GamePad for a couple seconds. 1, 2. Now tap the symbols in the order that they are displayed on the TV from left to right. So I'm going to push the sync button again. Then we're going to do spade, heart, heart, spade. Connecting to the Wii U console. And apparently, this is where all the problems happen. Could not connect to Wii U console. Move the controller closer. If I rest it right on top and do spade, heart, heart, spade, apparently this won't connect either. So what we'll do is I'm going to grab my GamePad from my Wii U and see if we can't connect it to the console. If we can't connect it to the console, we'll know it's the console and not the GamePad. If I can connect it to their console, we'll know it's their GamePad and not the console. I'll go get my GamePad. Okay, so here's my Wii U GamePad. I'm just going to add a piece of tape on the back so I don't get them mixed up. And I'll leave a little tab for myself so I can pull it off later. So, I don't know if mine has a charge, but I'll see if it does. Nope, it's been way too long, so I will plug it in. Let's power this one off. I'll plug in the AC power. And now turn on the GamePad. And then we'll do the same steps in synchronizing as we did with their GamePad. So we'll push the synchronization button, the sync button on the console, and we'll do it again to get our combination for connecting. And then I will push the sync button on the back of my control pad here, my GamePad. And we're going to do spade, heart, heart, spade. Trying to connect to the Wii U console. And it looks like my GamePad's connecting, which means so Heather's GamePad has the problem and not the console, as I can connect my GamePad to it just fine. we need to figure out what's going on with the gamepad and see if we can't repair it. So let's open this up and see what we can find inside. So you've seen me do this before. I'm just going to remove the battery. I've already unscrewed that for the most part. You pull the power supply from the battery there. You can just remove the battery. And I'll go ahead and take off all these little screw covers and remove all the screws. So in my last Wii U gamepad video, which involved a similar issue, it was a cable that was removed, or that was loose and popped out from the bottom sink port. But we'll find out if that's the case here or not. The last one I repaired, the screw caps were off and it was clearly opened at one point. Okay, so we have the back off. I reseated a couple of these cables here, like when I had that other gamepad that wouldn't synchronize, it was just that this cable here had come out of the connector. So I lifted up this little clip there, and I just made sure that that was snug and pushed in all the way. And I just snap that back down, and I'll do it to this side as well. Make sure that's in all the way, and snap that back down. We have the wireless connector here that connects the gamepad to the console. So what I'll do is just lift that on the edge, and then we can kind of scrape up this sticky adhesive. And just make sure that the antenna cables are in there firmly. Maybe give them a little wiggle. Spin them on the connector a little bit, they will rotate like that. Looking at this a little closer, it seems okay. But if anything, this would probably cause it not to connect to the console properly. Just gonna stick that back down. All of these connections look good. That is for the amiibos. This little guy here deals with it's the near field communication chip. So that wouldn't cause us to have any connectivity problems to the console itself. I'll just double check these wires here, make sure those are pushed in all the way. Those look good. That's for the screen. Analog controls for these two. Speakers, everything looks well seated. So I guess I'll just try it once more. Back on here, we'll put the battery in and try to connect once more. Just fiddling with those wires. To that, get the battery in there. We'll turn this on. Nope, we'll have to plug it in because there's not enough juice. Turn that on, push the sync button on the console a couple times. We'll press the sync button on the back of the gamepad. 2 seconds. We'll match up the characters on the screen, spade, heart, heart, spade, and see if it will connect to the console. Could not connect. So what I'll do, I think, is I'm going to take the Wi-Fi chip out of my GamePad here. Oh, that's dirty. Anyway, and put it in this one and see if it works. And if it does, we'll just have to buy a replacement Wi-Fi chip and get that in here. So let me crack open my device with the tape on it, and I'll put my Wi-Fi controller in here and see what happens. Okay, so here's what we're gonna do. Pull the back off of my GamePad. That off to the side into my own pile. We will lift up my Wi-Fi controller, and then we will remove these little antenna clips and just pop them up. Either your fingernail or a little pry tool. And just remember that the black goes on the inside and the white goes on the outside. I'll put my GamePad off to the side. We will bring Heather's over. We will remove her Wi-Fi connector. White goes on the outside, black goes on the inside. We'll just connect those back up, like so. They're round connectors, they just kind of line up, and when you get it there, you can just push it in, it'll snap into place. You'll find these same connectors in like laptops and stuff. They're pretty common. But just don't force anything because they can get a little tricky. Actually, I think I've discovered what the problem is. Now, when I remove the antenna from Heather's, the connector actually came off with it, and I didn't even pry it that hard. So I think the connector may have been bad on this module to begin with. I don't know if you can see that. See, this one here is just not there. So just prying that off with my finger, it removed itself completely. Okay, so that's in place. Get this plugged in. Like so. So now that we have my Wi-Fi chip in there, we'll put this back on, insert the battery, and see if we can connect the GamePad. Battery installed. We'll plug in the AC power. Turn on the GamePad. We will push the synchronization button a couple times on the console. And it looks like it's already paired. As soon as I put that chip in, it remembered the ID from the GamePad, and it looks like we're just going to connect. And there it is. Okay, so with my Wi-Fi chip installed into Heather's GamePad, it works fine. So what we'll do is I'm just going to let her have my Wi-Fi chip, and I'll just get the one online that I saw for $15 and use that in my machine, so I can send this back to her today and she'll get it much quicker than having to wait around for the part to come in, me to install it, and then ship it out. Okay, so I've connected up my Wi-Fi module to Heather's GamePad, and it looks like that we will be back in action with the gamepad talking to the console. So as you can see, everything seems to be good. Gamepad is up to date. I can now switch screens. You can look at apps. We can start games, and everything seems to be working fine now. So there you go, Heather. What I'll do is just order up that Wi-Fi module for my own gamepad. You can have the one that's in there. They sell them used now. You can't really get new ones because they're just coming out of old broken gamepads. So you can have my existing Wi-Fi adapter that was in my gamepad. It works fine now. Your kids should be able to, go crazy, have some fun. And I'll contact you, let you know how much the shipping will be coming back, and that's it. I hope you found this video helpful in some way, and if any of you viewers out there have a device that may need troubleshooting or repair, let me know. Give me a thumbs up, subscribe, and until next time, we'll see you later. Thanks for watching.